So good morning, everyone. By way of introduction, my name is Luke Pollard, the team leader of Digital Library Initiatives at UNSW Library. Today, we would like to share with the community how we have automated the process of reading emails from Lab to update partner records in Alma with PHP scripting, utilizing the Alma Resource Sharing API and Google API. We would like to take this opportunity to thank the community for sharing previous work in this field. I would like to make special mention to Brent from State Library of New South Wales for sharing the scripting work that he completed while at Unilink, and Nish from Macquarie University for sharing the solution that Macquarie have implemented. I would also like to thank all the members of my team and other units at UNSW Library for their work on this project. It was truly a collaborative effort. Our goal was to develop a solution at zero cost for infrastructure to the institution, and we estimate that the implementation has an ongoing savings of 3 to 4 hours of manual work on average per week. I would like to note that this session will be recorded and that both the slides and the recording will be made available to the community. And if people could please wait until the end of the session, there will be an opportunity to ask questions. I'll now hand over to Xiaobo NI, who is the lead developer within the Digital Library Initiatives team, to present.
Good morning. This is Xiaobo NI from UNSW Library. Today, I'm going to present how my team implements automated resource sharing process in initial and ongoing partner data updates by using Alma API. I will go through those contents, some background of our project, the requirements of the script, and where you can download our project files, and a brief overview of the script. And then we will go through the detail of two important components of our script. And finally, we will have some time to answer your questions. Background. This year, UNSW Library decided to implement Alma Resource Sharing. To achieve the goal, we have to first to have the partner record data available inside the Alma system. In our library, we collect the data from two data sources. One is from LADD, and that's for Australian library data. Another one is from a directory of New Zealand libraries. That's for New Zealand library data. In our case, combine those two data sources, totally we have over 1,000 records. And then next step, when those data available in Alma, and we have to keep those record data up to date. And right now we receive the update content through email from this email address. And by our record, there are several days we receive over 100 emails. So from here, we actually need a tool to solve those issues efficiently with minimum cost. So that's why we start this project to create the script to do the job. The requirements, because our script using Alma Resources Sharing Partners API, so to understand how those API call works, quite important. So you can go to this website. That's from it's from Xliver's developer website, and you can read some document from here, and it shows how this API works. And also to run a script, you need the Alma API key are needed. Our script coded by using PHP language. So the PHP, at least the PHP version 5.5 or above is required. And also need to download and enable a query extension in PHP configuration. We recommend to run our script in 7.1. That's the UNSW library is doing right now. The Git, the Git is used to do the version control, and we use a Gmail account to receive the update email message. Then, so we need install the Gmail API package to build a connection to the Gmail account. The last one, the email server configuration, that is optional. It's only if the email notification is needed after the script run. We already upload our project file to Github Repository. So you can download our project freely from this link. And in the repository, there are two branches. The master branch and the Gmail API branch. The only difference between these two branches are we use a different way to build email connection. The master branch use a PHP AMAP extension. The Gmail API branch, of course, use a Gmail API. We start this project with PHP IMAP extension, but later we decide to move to Gmail API. That's because we finally realized that Google will not support PHP IMAP extension for account authentication in future. So currently, we in UNSW Library, the Gmail API branch is used. Okay, we start to look some big picture of the script. In our script, there's two components. One is initial partner record load. Another one is daily partner record update. Those components can be run separately, and we will talk about the detail later. Data storage. All our data stored in CSV file, so we don't use any database. File structure. All our script file and data stored in SRC folder. And in that folder, we also have a data folder to store all data files. And also, when you run our script, two other subfolder need to be created. One is initial folder, another is for update folder for the data for different components, and we will talk about the detail later. The log folder is to store all the log files. Templates, all data templates for Alma API call and email notification template will store here. Gmail API package right now is installed in the vendor folder, and that's not included in the Github repository. We use three data template to define the data set for Alma API. The first one is basic partner template. We can have a look at that one. This template contains the basic value needed for the Alma API call. And be noticed there are there are 4 values need to be changed when create this data set for each partner record. That is code and name. The code is for the library code. The name is for the library name. The IIL port, that's the port number, and for different Alma system. As I remember, the 1611 is for Alma production and the 1612 for Alma UAT. And there's another one, is a holding code. We use user value as same as the library code. And also you can see there are other values in this document. And those value can be defined in different separate template. That's a fixed value template. Those value are actually same for every library record, but different institute may have different setup value. So if you can add your value to meet the requirement from your library. And the third template is to define the data set for contact. And in our script, we will insert those contact detail into different field to create a contact data set. Finally, our script will combine those 3 templates together to create a completed data set for Alma API call. The files, you can see we have a lot of files in the project folder, and we can categorize them into 5 different groups. The first one is a variable file, as we defined all constant variable inside this file, such as the API key, the server path, and also other variable going to be used in this script. And functional files is provide different function for the whole script, like the Alma API function and the Google API function. Sorry. And data collection file, that's the script to run the data collection. And the initial load files, that's used to run the script to upload the initial data to Alma system. And daily update files, those script actually to handle the daily updates. Okay, let's talk about some detail about our script. The first, we will talk about the initial partner record load. This component can be separated in 2 steps or 2 parts. The first step is to collect partner data from different data source. The scripts start to collect the data from the LADD website. But because LADD website only provide the part of the information we need, then we also need to get other library details from the ILRS website. So after we get the library code from the LADD website. Then we pass the library code to IRIs and to retrieve the other library details such as address, emails, and telephone number. When all those data are available, then we save the data into a CSV file. At the meantime, the script also collects data from for the New Zealand library and also save the data into a separate CSV file. When those two files available, the script gonna load the data from these two data files and combine them together and select the data we need for the initial load and to create initial load data file here. And then we can look at our data files. This one is for the New Zealand library data. And the data will save into this data file. So it start with dndl underscore data underscore, and time is when the script is run. And the data format will be like some library code and library name, website, address, email, telephone number, etc. And the LADD data is for the Australia library data. And this contains the different information. That's library code, organization is pretty much like a library name, prefix, address, email, telephone, and other information. And then we combine these two data files together and to build our initial data file. That's gonna be look like this one. So in our initial load, we only need a library code, library name, prefix, and the library email address. The script will combine those two data files and put into this CSV file with time the scripts run. And you can check this data file, and if this looks okay, then rename it to initial underscore record. That's a final data file for next step. And step 2 is load initial partner record to Alma system. This step actually contain two functions. You can create Alma record and also can delete the Alma record. But normally we only use a create function. At the beginning, the script gonna read the initial data from the data file we create in last step. And then for each data record, we'll run the loop. And first to check the exception. There's an exception defined in the constant variable file. And if the library code is not in the exception list, then we use a data record to and also with the data template to build the API dataset. And next step, we pass the data set through the API call. And this one will create a new record in the Alma system. And then the Alma server will return a response. Then we have to handle the response to see whether the process has been successfully or there's any error or failure. When the old record has been processed, the next step gonna save the error record into a CSV file for check, and then create a log file and send an email. To run this script, you need to type this command. That's with those options. These options is run this process in the Alma production and also to add the record into the Alma system. And if there's other options, you just remove the option part, and you can to see what other options are available for this command. Okay, the next component is daily partner record update. These are script mainly to update the record into Alma system. The script will do the email precise. It pretty much just read the email, the API, Gmail API call will build the connection first, then read the email from the Gmail account. And then we check whether this email comes from the ISO ILL. If no, then we will relabel the email as ignored. And if it is from the ISO ILL, then we'll check whether the content of the email is in our process category. In UNSW Library, we only process 3 types of content. That's add a new location, update the contact detail, and update the suspensions. And if the content is not in the category, then we also relabel the message to as other email. If do match the category, then we do the next step as a content process. First, the script will put the content into email container. Then we will look into the email content to see whether this content contains those information like locations, contacts, suspension. If do, then we will abstract those information and put into a separate object containers. When all the content has been processed, then we save the information into CSV data files. And then we relabel this message to processed to prevent the future process when they run the script. And when all the email sit in the email account has been processed, then we go to the next step. Next step is first to add the new locations through the API. The script will first check whether this new locations data file is available from the first previous step. If the data file is not available, then skip. If available, then read the data from the data file and put into a data set and send through the Alma API call. And when all the new location has been added into the Alma system, then we go to the next step. That's add and update the new context. Same as adding location, the script gonna check whether there's any data file created from the previous step. If no, then skip. If yes, then read the data, put in the data set, and also send through the Alma API and update the information in the server side. And when this part finished, then go to the next step. That's update suspension. The update suspension first will back up the suspension data CSV file. After backup the file, then the script will do the merge record. This process actually is to check whether there are some record from same library which has time overlap. If do, then we merge those records into one single record. The main purpose of this process is to prevent multiple updates in one in one go, and also update the single record multiple times may cause some detected error. So yeah, this process pretty much has to prevent those things happen. And then when we merge the record, we'll save into a new suspension data file. Then we'll move to the next step, that's update. So the update process will read the data from the data file, put into Alma, put into the data side and pass through the Alma API. And when that one finished, the next step will create a log file to record how many process has been done, how many success, how many fail, and also record how many email has been read from the email account. And then the final will trigger email to inform the recipient the progress has been finished. And to run this script, just simply type this command. This one also run the script and update the information, update the data to the Alma production. And if you want to try in UAT, just put UAT here. Okay, next we look at the data for the daily update. The first one is the data for the add a new location, but we name the data file as add partners. In this data file, we only need 3 values as a code, name, and prefix. Then we use these 3 values to create a new data record. And then that's the data file we have for the update contact details. And those information we collect from the update emails. So that's library code and different lines of the address and city, state, postcode, telephone number, the email. That's the data file for the update suspension. And also that's only contain the code and when that's the receive date, that's when we receive the email, and update date or when the suspension update to Alma server, and that the status, and when the suspension start and when the suspension end, and there's a notes. And you can see we combine the 2 record together in the node. And that's the email notification we currently receive after this update script run. And I ran this script this morning, so we got this email. You can see there are 3 email actually has been processed. And there's no new record added into the Alma. Also, that's new update contact detail to the Alma. But we do update 60 suspension to the Alma system. And also it's a very good example because this only show 59 successful, and there's a 1 fail. And the fail information will stored in this error log. So when you found there's any fail, you just check the error log, and that's record the response from the Alma server, and then you know what happened to this fail. And in our case, that's because the record actually is not available in our Alma system, so that's a cause of failure. And right now we're gonna run the daily update twice a day at 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. The reason why we schedule like this is because we receive the email update every day at sorry, at 12:30 p.m. to 1 p.m. and also 11:30 p.m. to midnight. So we run the script at 1 p.m., 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. just after all the update email we all received. Okay, the question. So any questions? Sorry, I didn't hear any questions. Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, Susan. So look, this is actually a bit off tangent because I actually thought you covered everything very, very well and gave a really good idea, particularly like when they run, how come it runs twice a day, etc. I was just curious about the you mentioned ports 1611 and 1612.
Yes.
I'm curious about that. How are they different between Alma Production and Alma UAT?
That's defined in the Alma API call document. Right now, they use port 1611 for Alma API call to connect the Alma production server, and use port number 1612 to build a connection to the Alma UAT server. So I think, yeah, that's the reason why there's a two different port number.
Okay, thanks. And it's, yeah, okay. And it's just the LAD actually uses the 1612 as well when we're trying to talk to them. So it must be, there's an API thing from LAD there in the sandbox.
Yeah.
So 1612 from the sandbox and 1611 from production. Is that the case?
Yes, that's the case. You're right. That's the case.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's Brent here. I have a question. With the email notification that you just showed us, and you said
Yes.
that there was 60 processed, 59 went through, but 1 failed, and it's in the log file.
Yes.
What's your current process to deal with that now?
You mean the failure?
Yeah.
Right now, of course, we need to they have the manpower involved in the investigation. Our script cannot automatically do the process. For this error, I need to go to the error log file to see what error is look like. And in this case, this error shows the record is not available in Alma system. And then, but because in the error log file, we record the library code. So we can use the library code to check in the LADD website and also ILRI's website to see whether this missing library is available in both data source. If do, then we will need to decide whether we manually add the library record into our Alma system. If not, then also we need to decide whether we're going to remove that piece of information from the data file.
So
how did you decide not to attach the log file to the email notification?
It's right now. It's just we just created a script for probably finish the script less than a month. So we still under the test run, and we haven't decided what type of information we'll add into the email notification yet. But it's just an example to show what basic information right now we have in the email notification. Is that clear?
Yes.
Thank you.
Could I ask another question?
Yes, please.
Okay, we're trying to actually get a partner program, ourselves as well, and yours looks really nice. About how long was the development time? I mean, the resources that you needed and stuff, and where do you run? I mean, what sort of server do you use a Linux server to run it on? I'm just trying to get some approximate things for approaching our IT department to get, the resourcing available, I suppose. So about how long did it take you to develop this program?
If you restart to program everything from nothing, then they're gonna probably take a couple of weeks. But if you just if you use our script just to modify some variable or component to meet the requirement from your library, that probably use a couple of days, maybe at least in a week. And the main thing probably need to do is to check our constant variable file, because most of our variables defined in that file, and because the different library may have different requirement and value. So yeah, of course you have to ask the IT to modify that file. And also right now we use the Gmail account, so we use a Gmail API call. But if your library use a different email account, then you may cannot use Gmail API. Then you have to use IMAP, PHP IMAP extension or other extension to build the email connection. That's also need some time. And also to run the script, sorry, I just forgot to mention, to run the script for the data initial load, probably that need around 30 minutes, depending on how many record need to be uploaded into the Alma when the script run. And in our case, when we run the script, we upload probably over 1,000 records into Alma system. That's take probably 25 minutes. And for the daily update, like for the 60 record, it normally just need 2 minutes to run a script.
And do you run that on a separate server, a Linux server? Or?
It's run in the Linux server. Actually, we test it in the Linux server, and also we test in the Windows server.
Okay, thanks.
I think Susan, it's Kevin from UNSW as well. I mean, yes. Well, for the script, I mean, we don't really actually start from scratch, because we basically pick up bits and pieces from the developers network, and then some work that Brent was done before. So I mean, it did take us a few weeks to do the development, and but the end product can actually, you can choose to run from a standard workstation, or if you choose to run on the server. I mean, yes, because we did the development on a workstation, and then do the testing, and then try out running all this manually 2 times a day. But as we decided to automate the process, then we just copy it onto the server. But if you decided to, I mean, one of the reasons that one of the problem that we have actually to try to run this on the workstation or running on the server is the PHP version or the PHP library that you may have. I mean, on your own workstation, you probably can do whatever you want, but on the server side, I mean, since it was managed by our central IT, there may be a limitation or restriction on the version of the PHP you use or the library that you are able to put in there. So, and yes, that's probably something that you need to be aware. And also, since we are using the Gmail as the email provider, and then depending on what you use, you may need to do some modification on either on IMAP version or on using the API for the other email provider.
So Kevin,
And I was just wondering, one last question is, why did you
Yep.
decide to do PHP instead of using the JavaScript, like the one from Macquarie, which we're also looking at?
Well, when we first, we actually talked to Lish about this as well. I mean, yes, but we actually found, I mean, what Lish has done is actually a great piece of work. I mean, yes, is a total solution. It's basically, we feel it's a total solution for everyone. I mean, yes, if the whole ANZ region can actually make use of it, it will be wonderful. But if it's just for one institution, and because of the limited resource that we have, and also the Macquarie solution actually requires certain server running, certain things running on the server which we didn't actually have. So then our final decision is we just have to fall back to something a bit more simpler.
Thank you
So-
very, very much. I'm sorry if I asked too many
That's
questions.
okay. Yep.
so Kevin, when you say on your workstation,
Yep.
you mean a Windows PC,
Yep.
and you have to install PHP.
Yep.
What other things do you need to install on your Windows PC? Like, do you need the Git with the Git Bash extensions or any other software to make your Windows PC handle this?
I can answer.
Yep.
Yeah, basically you only need the PHP, and also the some additional PHP extension may not come with PHP installation package. Something like Cura extension, and if you use AMAP, also the AMAP extension. And the Git, actually the Git is used to do the version control, and you can install the Git in your local local station, like your laptop or desktop. And then you can, after you install the Git, of course, you can use a clone to download the package from the GitHub. But without Git, you still can download our package from the GitHub and just unpack it.
So it doesn't need to look, it
Yes?
doesn't need to think it's running in a Unix type environment on your PC.
No,
or-
no, it can be run in the PC.
Oh, I mean,
Excellent.
yes, you can run on the window. I mean, and for the gig, actually, I mean, this is the first time we try to make use of gig for sharing things to the public. I mean, yeah, because we used to use SVN instead, but for this one, and we decided to give the GitHub a trial to so that we are able to actually to share it to the public. I mean, yes.
I was only referring to Git because when you install the Git Bash on your PC, it can look like a Unix machine in the Git Bash. But if you don't need that to run the
No.
scripts, you're only using it as the repository for the code.
You can use the desktop. I mean, you can use the GUI. I think Git also get a GUI as well. Get a GUI desktop as well. You probably can use that one as well. I mean, yes. So the Git is just for version control. I mean, if you don't have Git, I mean, you can use anything else as long as you can get the source file. I mean, which, as I said, I mean, yes, instead of using the SVN, I mean, yes, we try out the Git. I mean, yes, because our SVN wasn't a public one, and it's not possible to share out to the public. I mean, yes.
Hi, it's Ben Dow here from the University of Adelaide. Thanks for that. I was just wondering, and maybe the rest of the community who's listening might also get on board, that it seems like the data collection being probably one of the more complex parts of this operation, whether there's any collaboration that we could all do. Like Nish, I know you're obviously collecting the data. Maybe we could publish this data in a common spot where we could all just have access to one common data set. We could all host it.
Yep.
Someone could host, we put it somewhere, I don't know, somewhere that everyone can just use the same data. We all use the same data. Let's share. We share a code, we may as well share the data.
Yes, I think that's a niche project actually try to achieve.
Yeah, pretty much what I tried to do.
Yes.
Not just have a common data set, but also actually have a common use of the application as well. So if the application was just hosted centrally, if we had somebody who could just host it, then everybody could just use it. It would be harvesting the data on a scheduled basis, and everyone can just make an API call to sync their Alma instance, and you're done. Nobody has to host any infrastructure. No, not everybody has to host any infrastructure or anything. That was the initial plan.
Yes. I mean, I completely agree with that. I mean, yes, because if this solution is actually beneficial to the whole, well, more than just one institution. I mean, yes, if more institutions can be able to make use of that, yes, that is a great solution. Yes.
We University of Adelaide's on the Rapido development partners for Rapido, and we've actually mentioned, well, Annette mentioned something similar to this with the Ex-Libris crew, and they're looking at potentially ways of improving this as well. So a lot of this could be you know, more streamlined further down the track as well. So I think watch this space. Maybe we can eliminate some of these workarounds in the future. We need to get better data from NLA. So their data seems to be pretty convoluted the way you get it. Has anyone had any comms with them to improve the way they collect that data rather than doing scraping like you're doing currently?
Yep. True. It's part of it. I mean,
like the New Zealand data is a CSV. That's nice and easy, but data, web scraping. I don't know. Has anyone communicated with NLA to see if they can get CSV or equivalent like New Zealand data gives us?
They once upon a time did create that sort of data, and they stopped doing it. I think they just decided they would go with the native VDX emails. Of course, we know VDX is highly outdated now. So I think now probably they don't want to do any development because they're probably looking to replace that system in any case.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
It's Brent here again. Another question. What was the decision for using CSV files instead of a database? I know you mentioned that earlier, but you didn't give us a reason.
Xiaobo?
That's because we do the development in the from the in my personal in the Windows device, and then we just try to want to simplify the process. Sometimes move the data from in the database from different systems sometimes cause a problem. And we just want everything go smooth, but I think the CSV file is much more easier. And also use a CSV file is quite lightweight, so we don't need to consider to install the database in any of our system, like from PC or from server side. Okay,
so you had an idea that the script was could be run either from a server or from a workstation.
Yes, actually, at the beginning, we considered to use the database, but then we realized there's some difficulty. First, because we decide to finally run the script on the Linux server, and that server provided by UNSW IT, and we just have a limited control on that server, so we can't decide what database we're gonna use. And sometimes, the database they use in the Linux may a little bit different from the database used in the Windows, and they're gonna cause some issues.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if it's a CSV file, you can edit the thing if you need to do any adjustments.
Yes, and also CSV file is easy to edit. So if easy to read, and so when you notice there's some error, you just modify the CSV file. Easier than to modify the database data.
Yeah, I couldn't quite tell from, I mean, I saw the CSV files and it looks like you got some good information there. Are you running, I couldn't quite tell, but I could see that you're actually doing daily updates based on those emails coming through, but are you also able to, based on those CSV files, be able to do stuff from prior emails? So when it says the library, a particular library is going to be suspended from the 12th of December, or it's going to reopen on the 12th of December, and that email comes in today, is your script able to pick up on that and say, yep, I'm going to run the API call to say that library is now disabled from the 12th of December?
Actually, we read the email every day, and then we abstract the information from the email and save those information in the data CSV file, and then the script gonna to check that CSV file one by one. Because we record the suspension start day and end day for each library, for each record. Then when this period of time, when today locate inside the period of time, then we the script will inactive that record in the Alma system. And if that day, if the today is out of that period of time, then the script will enable the record in the Alma system and remove that piece of record from the suspension data file and save that information in a different data file as a history record.
Okay, that's good. It was also a very good presentation.
Thank you.
Were there any further questions?
Just one suspended from Adelaide again. I've never really used the interlibrary loans stuff here. How do you get your emails? Is that just subscribing to VDX, whatever? Do you have to tell them what email you want to send them to and get that set up? What's the process there?
You need to subscribe the email from the Helen from which institute, please?
Oh, you just send an email to the Libraries Australia help desk. You use the Trove form. I was just looking at it this morning. You use the Trove form for general inquiries. Yeah, absolutely. And you just say that you want to subscribe to the LAD suspension emails, and that will get it to you.
Okay, great, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, great. If there are no further questions, we'll end the session there. And I'd like to thank everyone for attending and thank Xiaobo for performing the presentation. And a link to the recording along with the PowerPoint slides and a link to our GitHub will be shared after the session. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye all.
Bye.
Bye.